Have you ever noticed how the most critical people, I used to be one of those people. I was terrified. And so I would criticize everything I didn't know. I thought that was okay, but actually it kept me scared. It kept me terrified, and I didn't even know that it was that way. Anger is a big mask for fear. A lot of angry people are really just scared to death. In fact, I'll go out on a limb and say all angry people are really scared underneath. Laziness, you know, if I stretch, if I risk, maybe I'll fail. So I'll just be lazy. It's not a conscious thought. None of these are conscious thoughts. Fickleness, moving around, getting in and out of relationships, all of these things can be traced back to fear. How many of you can think of other excuses or other masks of fear? Anybody want to throw one out there? I couldn't cover them all, could I? Yeah.
I think hatred, bigotry.
Hatred, bigotry, definitely. Thank you. Should have said that one. Yeah.
Maybe indecisiveness?
Incisiveness? What do you mean?
Just being indecisive.
Oh, indecisiveness. Got it. Definitely. And then, yeah. Control. Absolutely. We human beings are so controlling because we want it to work out the way we want it to work out. We're afraid to just let go and let God or whatever. So, thank you. By the way, if anybody wants to ask any questions along the way or make a comment, please feel free. I like it when that happens. I do. I won't lose my train of thought because it's right here. This is my very favorite saying. Can you read it? Can you guys read it? When you come to the edge of all the light you know, and you're about to step into the darkness of the unknown, faith is knowing that one of two things will happen. Either there will be a ledge for you to stand on, or you will be taught how to fly.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I love that. You know, I read that, I think when I was like in my first year of sobriety, and I obviously read it a lot because I memorized it. So, like, didn't mean to, just happened. Walking through fear. Some of the ways to walk through fear. Talk to a trusted friend who's going to help you. Focus on the present, as I said. Prayer. So I was nervous. My friend asked me as we were walking out to go to the restroom, she was like, "Are you nervous? Do you get nervous still?" I'm like, "Yeah." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to go in the bathroom and pray." So I went in the bathroom and prayed. I'm still nervous, but I'm okay. I know that it's going to be okay. Journaling, and I'll get more into journaling later, but journaling is a wonderful way to deal with your fear or any other feeling or any other indecisive moment or any other thing. I hate journaling, but I love journaling. You know what I mean? It's like, I hate to do it, but once I do it, I really see the profound effect that it has. It's just great. I think we're our most brilliant. Oh, look. All right.
He's behind you. Don't worry.
Okay. You guys should have told me how long was it like that.
No, just now.
That's where it was. Oh, okay.
It's okay, you're demonstrating the ledge.
Right, I'm on the ledge. So. But I'm being taught how to fly, and you guys are helping me. And gratitude. You know, gratitude helps with just about everything. And I write a gratitude list most mornings. Now, I won't say every morning because that would be a lie, but, you know, I really believe that gratitude is, the more I'm grateful, the more things I have to be grateful for. And the more, well, you know, everybody's shaking their head, so I assume you know what I mean. Fear is good news. Fear means you're risking. Fear means you're stretching. Fear means you're daring to do what you've never done before. It's a good thing. It's a really good thing. Yes?
I just would add breathe.
Breathe. Yes, breathe. Good. Good. And we're going to get to even more meditation and stuff like that in a minute. So, which is breathing. So, but you're right. Absolutely. You know, even if you just take a couple of breaths, right? It helps. It does. I have a friend that I met in India, and he's a spiritual teacher, And he, I can't pronounce his name or I'd tell you what it is. It's in the book. He has this thing he calls shot meditation, where it's just 10 seconds of breathing, slow, long, slow. Like, it really is like 2 breaths or 3 breaths. And it puts you in another place. Because I've done it, and it's, if you're like, oh my God, this is like, it kind of puts you over here. And so it's very nice. Spirituality. Let's talk about spirituality. The definition in the dictionary online of spirituality is the principle of conscious, or one of them, of spirit, is the principle of conscious life, the vital principle in humans, animating the body or mediating between the body and soul. So I did a Google search for the definition of spirituality, and guess how many results I got? 4,020,000. I didn't read them all. But it's clear to say that really the reason that I did it was because I suspected something like that. And I know that we all have different spirituality, but for the purposes of this work, I needed to give us a working definition that we can all understand together. And it's very loose. So it's deeply personal. It's transformational. Spirituality has that transformational thing going on. I call it walking around spirituality. It's what I use every day. It's the quality of your relationship with yourself, others, and your higher power. So does that work for you guys? Okay, good. Got a few comments there. Spirituality really helps to deal with fear. You know, when my first thing that I do when I'm afraid is pray. And then if I remember to breathe, and thank you, then I do that. It's really important. I don't think I could have written this book. My head was telling me, no one will read it, and if they do read it, they think you're crazy. Who do you think you are? I mean, you've never written a book before. You know, and it could go on and on and on, and I needed to deal with that fear, and sometimes on a daily basis. So I'm here to tell you, it works to deal with fear. It works. Another thing that I suggest before we get started with the 5-step process is to harness your energy, to become healthy and energetic. Because if you're living one life and working towards where you want to go, you're going to be working hard. And you're going to need to be fit or healthy. You know, you're kind of fit, you're kind of healthy. Firstly, I think it's important to know when you're most energetic. For me, it's the morning. You know, I can get more done in the morning. If I got out of bed, said my prayers, washed my face, brushed my teeth, went downstairs, had some tea, and started writing, I was really in good shape that day. You know, later in the day, I get more tired, and so it's harder. And so you need to know, because we're all different, when your time to work for yourself is, when your time to move forward is. And obviously, exercise, good nutrition, plenty of sleep. But more important than all of these, and maybe most important, is to stay connected to people. You know, writing is a lonely thing. You spend hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours by yourself. So I would make sure that I connected with people each and every day, because otherwise your perspective gets off, and then that leads to fear and whatever. Pray and meditate again. Be of service to others, and acceptance. Practice acceptance of life the way it really is. You know, I love the serenity prayer. Grant me the serenity to grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I say it all the time because I always want to make life, it's control. I always want to make life be the way I think life should be, or have you do what I think you should do. And then everything will be fine. We'll be fine then. So not true. Okay, so the tools for your journey are these things, really. Journaling, write about what you're yearning for. If you want looking for your purpose, start with that. Write about what you're yearning for. Write about what's bothering you. Write about what you want. Write about your thoughts. Just anything you want to write about that has to do with where you think you want to go. And you'll be surprised. It's like out the arm magic. It's like we are our own best therapists in this way. I have my clients write all the time because then we have so much more to do and to say and to talk about in our sessions together. Meditation in the book, chapter 3. These are all in chapter 3, just by the way. Meditation, I bring forth 4 forms of meditation. I tried them all when I was writing the book for 2 weeks each, in addition to the one that or instead of the one that I usually do. And they all have things in common with each other. They all have sitting comfortably upright so you don't fall asleep, or maybe you do anyway. I do sometimes. I'm told this is okay. And they all have breathing in common with them. And other than that, you get to pick, because they're all good. And if you don't want to do a classic form of meditation, drink a cup of tea, take a walk. Walking meditation is wonderful. Then there's affirmations. Affirmation is a statement that you make in the present tense. And it's something that you haven't maybe achieved yet, but that you want to achieve, but you say it as though you're there. I am a successful author. My book has been published. I said that for an entire year. And now my book has been published. Now, I don't know if that's the reason. It could have been also that I was writing every day, but still, I thought it was good because it kept me on track. And I would say it every day, and then of course, I knew that my part of that was that I had to write. So then I would write. And I believe that you should say your affirmations 3 times a day. Now, Louise Hay writes about affirmations, and she's really interesting because she says, sing them, shout them to the walls. You know, I never did that, but I'm a little shy in my own house, by myself, shy to sing or to yell to the walls, but whatever you want to do, you know. One thing I did do is I said my affirmations on my walks every day, and I felt like I was getting a double whammy for whatever reason. Then there's intention. So the other day I went to the walk conference, and it was really a great conference, but it was long. It was all day long. And I thought, I'm staying to the very end. I'm going to win a raffle prize. I told everybody. What time are you leaving? Oh, I'm going to stay at the end because I want to win a raffle prize. And they do those at the end, and I'm going to win. And everybody was like, she's going to win. So the first person they called up was guess who? Yeah, I won. So I'm thinking, wow, I wonder if this would work for the lottery. So I believe in intention. I do believe in it. I believe that we all have energy. We all are energy. And our planet is made up of energy. And so if I have an intention and I put my energy out there, then it's going to help me get there. It's not magic, but it's going to help me get there. Okay, so would somebody like to, can anyone read this? Would somebody like to read this for me? If I can read it? No? Can't see it. Okay, I'll read it. Glasses. Sorry, it's kind of light in here. Yeah, okay. To identify your values, use your heart. The heart embraces truths that elude the mind. Your heart is more creative than your mind in clarifying what you want and what ought to be the major themes in your life. Your heart is where you feel passion. Your heart is the center, the home of your spirituality and your love for self, others, and higher power. Living from your heart nourishes your soul. So that's from my book. My first time I did this talk, I didn't have anything from my book in it. And people were like, why didn't you read from your book? I was like, oh, what a good idea. So now I do. Values. Okay, so the first part, the first of the 5 is know your values. So values are not tangible. They're what matters most to us. They help us discover our authentic selves, which makes sense because if you know what your values are, then you're going to know what's really important to you down deep in your authentic self. They are mapped to a fulfilling life. So let's say that you are living your life based on your own values. Then it's going to feel good. It's going to be congruent with who you are. You're not going to run up against it, oh, I don't want to do this because it doesn't match with who I am and I feel bad about that. Because if you're living by your values, and if you check and make sure, even at your jobs, that you're living by your values, then it's pretty easy to live, or easier. Empowering and motivating. It's definitely empowering when you write down all your values and you look at that list. I remember when I did that, I was like very proud of myself. I liked the values I saw. They felt right to me. I felt like I really did that, and the me that used to be years ago was definitely not that person. So I got to see my growth, and I felt good about that. But know that values change as we change. My values when I was 20 years old were so different. You know, I was an actor, just to say. So that was a completely different time. It's in the book, you'll see. So how to create your list of values? Notebook or journal. I say this a lot, don't I? Notice your daily values, just as you go through your life, you know. Whenever you realize something matters to you, you're in a situation, you're with a friend. Oh my God, I really love this friend. Friends on your list of values, you know. If you're at the beach and you're thinking, this is so beautiful, this is my favorite place. Nature, write it down. It's one of your values. It matters. Values of people you respect. They can be people you know or people you don't know. Like, for instance, I really love Mother Teresa, the most compassionate woman that I've ever read about. And so I wrote down compassion as one of my values. Then there's a list of values which is in the book, but I was going to actually bring it as a handout. I just realized I forgot. So I'm sorry, but it's in the book. It's a huge list of values. And once you've got your values down, then take a look at the list. It might remind you of some things you forgot, or maybe you want to make some changes. You know, it's a living, breathing moment. I mean, it's not like you just write down your values in 2 seconds. I mean, because you're likely to forget something. And then edit the list as necessary. It's actually really easy to do this. And then you group your values into 4 to 6 different themes. So who can think of examples of a theme for a value? Work, relationships, family, absolutely. Health might be another one. So, what?
Play, energy. Play.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. That's always the one I forget. It's so weird. And then you select from those about 10 of them to be your core values. So you can take one from every theme, however you want to do it. And then you have your list of core values, and you'll see that we use this to create a purpose. So, glasses. Discovering the gifts that you were born with, your life's purpose, is a process. Each of us has a calling. You have something no one else on this planet has. No matter what your purpose, if you commit to finding it, it will fill up your heart and leave you feeling inspired. Debbie Ford wrote this in The Dark Side of the Light Chasers, which is an awesome book. I love that book. So the search for purpose. How many of you have ever asked, is there any more to life than this? Is this all there is? Yeah, usually we ask this somewhere in our 20s, but actually in my 20s and my 30s. You can ask at any time, really. And as I was talking to this lovely lady here at lunch, you know, she was talking about the next part of life, after retiring. So why not create a whole new purpose? Why not have a vision for your next part of life? You know, when people sit around and get bored and feel useless, not us. We don't need to do that. A purpose, your purpose is a calling. It's a big picture, a context for your goals. You know how people are very famous for doing New Year's resolutions and then they last about a week maybe, if we're lucky? Well, I think that one of the reasons they don't work so much is because we don't have a context into which they fit. So they're kind of just out there. You know, there's this thing I'm going to do. Oh yeah, I have life, and then I have this thing I'm going to do. And I think that if we, instead of writing New Year's resolutions this coming January, if we write goals based on a purpose, that we'll be in better shape because we'll have something we're working towards that's gathering. It's the foundation for, in the future, for thoughts, actions, feelings. It's a theme for your life. I got offered a job shortly after I did this work, and you know, it was tempting. You know, I've been on my own a long time, and I was thinking, well, I could be on my own and this was when I was debating about writing a book. And so I thought, oh yeah, I have my purpose. Let me read my purpose, and let me see if it syncs up with my purpose, and it didn't. So it almost killed me, but I turned it down, and I'm so glad I did because I ended up writing the book instead. So work and the book, you know. You can create meaning in your work or play life, your family, your community, self-care and service, relationships, energy, motivation. It doesn't matter what your purpose is. It doesn't matter what it has in it. Purpose is like a mission statement, a purpose statement. How would you like to be remembered? That's a way to look at it. Your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional self, all of it needs to go into your statement of purpose. Look at your list of values, strengths, and gifts. So there's a slide that's missing because I just redid this and somehow I left that one out. But it talks about unwrap your gifts. Everybody has gifts, right? We all do. We all have things we're good at. Things we've been good at, things we're good at now. You know, things that went right. Think of a time in your life when you're really, a time about which you're really proud. You know, you really did something cool for somebody or whatever. That is a time that you should look at and take a look at what it took for you to be that person. I do this with my clients all the time because, you know, we have a tendency in our culture to play ourselves down. We have a tendency to say, I'm not really good at anything if we're dissatisfied with our life. We have a tendency to look at our pathology rather than what's right about us. And so that's why I think it's important to have a list of strengths, of gifts that are yours, you know? Like there's people in this room that I can sit here and spout what I think their gifts are. So if you don't know what yours are, ask a friend. What is it you really think is special about me? And then they can tell you. Begin writing. My purpose for the next chapter of my life is. Now I'm not just going to leave you there. I'm going to give you examples. There's examples in the book. There's lots of them. Okay, so this is Thomas. Thomas retired 2 years before I met him. He came to be depressed. He had a lot of malaise. He didn't know what to do with his life. He was complaining. I never realized how much my job meant to me. I never realized that it was like a part of my actual social life as well as my daytime life. You know, I used to play golf with the guys at work when we were on a day off or before work. How much golf can a person play? I'm not working anymore. How much tennis can I play? I just don't know what to do with myself, how to fill up my life. And so I got to know Thomas, and Thomas was a man who was always in his head. He was always thinking. And we talked a lot about how to find your heart. Because if he was going to do this work, if he was going to find his passion, his purpose, and create a bold new vision for the next part of his life, he was 68 years old, then he was going to need to find what his heart was telling him. So he learned to meditate. And oh, lo and behold, meditation just set him off. So I'll read you his purpose. I have begun, don't start that way. I have begun to dream about two things: travel and helping others. They have become my passions. Now that I meditate, my purpose is to further study meditation, use it to help others across the globe, and teach it everywhere I can. I will be helpful to anyone who needs me and behave with love and service towards my family, my community. I will learn the customs of the people I serve, and I will lighten up, enjoying every moment of my life and the company of others. Integrity, authenticity, and balance will be my watchwords as I go forward. I will search for ways to give rather than worrying about receiving. So let's look at the values that he based his purpose statement on: travel, service, balance, peace of mind, love, focus on giving, teaching, joy, integrity, and authenticity. Those are the things that Thomas started off with to create his statement of purpose. So you see, you just build a purpose around the words of value. And it's pretty easy to do. Thomas, as we speak, is somewhere, I forget whether it's Africa or Asia, it's one of those two places, teaching meditation in a ashram or a center of some kind. And he actually met a woman, an older woman who was also interested in meditation, and they got married on some mountaintop. It's like the greatest story ever. I love it. So this is what you can do after retiring if you have a purpose. It's pretty cool. Here's another one. This is Avi. And I sat next to an artist at lunch, and this is for you. Avi was an artist, and his goal in his life was to sell his art, publish his art, and do with his art. Only he had a very narrow concept of that, so it wasn't so much working for him. And then he got a job teaching school because he needed to have a day job. But after a while, he came to see me because he was feeling like this wasn't what he wanted to do. And he felt stuck. And so we started talking about, how can you bring your art into where you are today instead of thinking you have to go out there to the art, And so he wrote his values down. He wants to be a dedicated teacher, honoring his gifts, community, family, love, generosity, friends, creativity, helping young people, and his home. So this is the statement of purpose that he wrote from those values, which I need to retype, as you can see. My purpose is to be the very best teacher I can be, to teach using all my creativity in order to help young minds develop, and to bring out the muse in each of my students. I am a painter, and I will always paint. I will find a way to use my gift to help others in and out of the classroom. I will bring creativity into all aspects of my life, my family, my community, my friends, and my home. I will be generous with this creativity. My life will be a giving and receiving of many gifts, love, whatever he says. Somehow it's not there. So Thomas is working on a book of his art and his students' art because after he started bringing his art into the classroom, they gave him 2 art classes at the school. So then he became a community art teacher. He taught, the school let him have a Saturday morning slot where he could just do an art class. And there were people from the community who came. And then they started cleaning up the neighborhood, you know. So then he gave an art show at his school. And so his art and his teaching sort of became one and the same. And he's had a show, and he's really happy he's doing his art. It's just that he didn't know what his art was going to be looking like. So he had to have a purpose around it, within it. So that was great. The greatest power in our lives is our capacity to imagine, vision, or dream. And not only when we are young, but ever and ever again throughout the life cycle. It is the essential ingredient for the self-renewing adult. So really, if you were a dreamer, how many dreamers do we have in here? How many people when you were young, people said, oh, you're a dreamer? It's a good thing. It's a good thing to be a dreamer. To be a dreamer your whole life. You just have to know the difference between dreams and reality, of course. We're talking about creating a vision now. We're taking our values, and we're taking our purpose statement, and we're going to create a vision. So the vision is kind of freeform. It's how we want our lives to look in the future, and it's a finite time. So you pick a time, the next year, the next 5 years. I picked the next 5 years because I've lived long enough to know that it takes a while for things to change. And I'm kind of at the end of my 5 years, and the book was the last thing in my vision. So now I need to write a new vision, obviously. Details involving all our senses. So that's important. The more finite you get, and the more you describe like what everything looks like, what it tastes like, what it feels like, all of your senses, the more into it you're going to get, and the more intention you're going to have, and the more it's going to happen for you. So close your eyes and imagine. It begins with a dream, a yearning, something you want, something maybe you wanted long ago, and you forgot. When I was a kid, I used to love to read. It was a great escape for me to read. Later it became drugs, and then I stopped reading. But I wanted to write a book. And then I got into drugs and alcohol, and I completely forgot that I ever had that. And I didn't even remember until I was writing my book. Wow. That's an intention that went a long time ago. Picture in your mind. The picture in your mind expresses feelings that you have in your heart. And then convert these pictures into words. So I don't have examples because visions are wrong, but does this really belong here? Okay. Is that a hint?
Oh, I thought she
I like it. I meant for that to happen. Yeah. Let's have fun, like you were saying. I know. So if you, I am, I'm going to have music in the background in the future. Yeah, maybe a live band. Okay, so if this process that I'm talking about, I'm kind of stopping in the middle to tell you that some of the things that can happen for you. You can identify the direction that you want to go and the motivation to keep you going. You can emerge from limited thinking by that dream, by that imagination that you have, and by the willingness to do it. You can improve your clarity and focus, because when you're using intentions and you're using affirmations and meditation and you're doing this work, it's going to keep you focused. You can expand your self-knowledge. You know, it starts with the values, but then as you get going, you know, the more you do, the more you learn about yourself, and the more amazing it becomes, and the closer you get to yourself, and eventually you end up with sort of an intimacy with your authentic self, and that's a really nice thing. And I never even knew that was missing for me. And then along it came, and so I was happy. This leads to a passionate life. So there you are. Those of you that are doing CEUs, that's one of the questions. Okay, so let me just talk a minute about vision before I get to goals. Vision is, okay, so you start out with, there I am. It's you presently in the future, if you know what I mean. There I am, sitting on my veranda at my beach house, looking at the beautiful Pacific Ocean. That happens to be in mine. That's the one thing that hasn't happened yet. Except I did have a book signing at a beach house, so that was good. But, and then you talk about where you live, what it looks like, who you're involved with in your life, you know, what your work looks like. You can get really specific. You know, in a business plan, this can become a business plan. In a business plan, you talk about your clients, you talk about what they pay you, how many times a week you see them, who they are, what kind of people you work with. So it's the same kind of thing that you're going to put in your bold new vision to take you where you want to go. So once you have this vision, and there's plenty of vision, there's 3 visions in the book that are, that there's the values, the purpose, the vision. So you get to see how it all goes together. The vision's the fun part. It really is. I mean, I just loved it. I would sit there and, you know, just imagine. And I had me talking about my book on Oprah, and now she doesn't really have her show anymore. So she has her magazine show, I guess.
You can change it to Latifah.
Yeah, there you go. So, but it was really fun to write, and it gave me all kinds of energy. So, to create your list of goals, you read your vision, and so, you know, if you say, there I am on the veranda of my beach house, well, that's a goal right there, beach house, with a veranda. And so you highlight each goal in your vision, then you make a separate piece of paper for each one, and you write the goal at the top of the piece of paper, and then you get to the next piece of paper and write another goal. So you have a stack of goals, and then you put them in order of priority. And if you have goals that, you know, say it takes you 2 weeks to write your goals down, let's just say. And then you look at it, and there's a couple that you think, nah, maybe not. You know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'll ever really want to do this. Then put it at the bottom of the pile and just leave it for the moment, because you never know, maybe in the future. So prioritize your goals for short, middle, and long term. That's important. And then create a vision board. A vision board, oh, here, wait. There you go. That's a vision board. One of my clients did this vision board. So you see she has romance, she has happy, business-looking woman, she has travel, she has health, exercise, she has style, money. Where's her money? She has money here. Oh yeah, 8 billion. That's money. She has that. So she has everything that, this is the kind of car she wants. She has all this stuff on it. And how you put together a vision board is really fun. You just get a whole big stack of magazines that you like, and then you just go through it, and you don't even think about it. You know, you've already written your vision, you know what it is. You've already written your values, you know what they are. And so you just look through it and you creatively cut out whatever you want. Just whatever you like. Then you have this whole pile of things that you cut out. And it took me, when I did mine, 2 days. I cut out stuff for 2 days. And then you make a collage. You just glue it on the poster board. And then you put it somewhere in your house so that you can look at it and it can remind you of the things that you're looking for in your life. Now, they can be, as you can see, they can be inner things or they can be external to you. Because up until now, you started with the inside. So this is an inside job. But we do live in the world, you know? And so we want a lot of the things, some of us, that are in the world. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you start with the inside. So, let me back up. Okay. Tips for success with your goals. Oops. Consider the role of fear in your life. Again. And you know what's really interesting is that I found when I got to this point that all of a sudden my fears just came flooding in. Why? Because this is the working part. This is the part where you're actually going to start doing. You're going to start, the next step is action. So fear is going to really come up for you then. Expect it. Make friends with it. You know? We all need a new relationship with fear. I think we're too afraid of fear. I do. There's even a word for that. What is that? Phobophobia. So, name the fears that are related to your goals, like fear of failure or success, and write about that. And surrender to your fears. It's okay to have fear. You can walk through your fears anyway and still have fear. But then, magically, of course, when you walk through your fears, you're not afraid anymore. Be authentic and true to yourself with your goals. And ask for feedback. This is a time when it's a good idea to talk to your friend, a friend or two, or a group if you have one. Success is fundamentally predicated on finding what you are passionate about and then becoming relentless in your pursuit of that thing. So here we are, we've done the values, we've done the purpose, we've written a bold new vision, we've got our list of goals. Now what's left? Do it. Just do it. It's a Nike moment. So create your action plan. Review your goals and priorities and timelines. Select. Now, all of this part is very personal. So select 1 to 3 goals that you want to work on. And then write down the very first small step to reaching your goal. And then, if you can, break it down to even smaller. Because how do you walk 3 miles? 1 step at a time. How do you get anywhere? Baby steps. And I think that one of the biggest problems that clients have often, or us too, is trying to take up too much at once, you know? And then you get depressed, and then you get, like, you can't do it all. So, but you can do 1 step at a time. You can do 1 thing each day to go towards this. And how many steps you're going to write down, how many action steps, depends on you. The thing is, you get better at it. The thing is that as you start doing it, you say, oh, well, so I wrote down all these steps for today, and obviously I only finished 1 or 2. So, okay, tomorrow, same steps, or the next ones. You know, I started figuring out what my capacity for doing things was, like how many clients I could see in a day and still write, and how many pages that would be. But it took a while, and it was a trial and error with myself kind of thing. So here's some tips for action plans. I know, do you love this little slide? It's so cute. Recite your affirmations 3 times a day. Simplify the steps into baby steps. Keep yourself motivated. Think about why you're doing this. What is it you want? Read your vision, read your purpose. Keep motivating yourself. You got to do that. Or you can have a coach or a therapist help you with that. And accept feeling uncomfortable. It only means you're growing. It's an awesome thing. Once you have reached the point in your journey at which you're beginning to realize your vision, remember that it might be time to look forward again to what comes next. Without purpose, how can you know what drives you forward? If you are motivated by your purpose, your mission, you will have a new clarity and self-assurance, inspired by what means the most to you. Your life is a delicate balance between purpose and behaviors. Transformation is full of surprises. Little surprises, big surprises, and everything in between the spaces surprises. If you are willing to follow your heart, you will be called to reach out, to give and to receive, and to turn into your truest self. There is no end to the possibilities and the power of the universe once you have set upon your path. It is beyond imagination. Enjoy your gifts, share them with the world, and be sure to find gratitude for every day of your life.